this year have been released on bail. Here are the details.
The accused who were given bail include Abdallah Mohammed, chief officer of the MV Spice Islander, and a resident of Bububu, Yusuf Suleiman Jusa, one of the proprietors of the ferry, and a resident of Kikwaduni, and Simai Nyange Simai, a safety officer and a resident of Mkele. Last Friday, they were put on remand after failing to get bail, where they were told decision on the bail request would be given today. In today's court proceedings, the attorney of the defendants, Hamid Ali Saidi, requested for the accused's release in order to allow the commission appointed by Zanzibar's president to investigate the cause of the MV Spice ferry accident to do its work. Other than that, the commission should not proceed with its work until the case has been finalized. Despite the government's request for denial of bail, Court Registrar George Kazi agreed to grant the three accused bail until the appointed commission completes its task. In order to secure the bail release, the accused had to provide 10 million shillings each, have two sureties with 10 million shillings each. The first accused in the case, Saidi Abdallah Kinyanyite, the captain of the ferry, is still at large.
The private sector in the country under Tanzania Private Sector Foundation has launched Business Act Against Corruption today as a start of the week of celebrating 50 years of independence anniversary. Here are the details.
Gestofana Mary Nagu, Minister of State, Investment and Empowerment, said private sectors are to take challenges they face, mostly in infrastructure and energy, as an opportunity for investment. Acknowledging the role in the development of the country the private sector has played, Minister of State, Good Governance, Matthias Chikawa, said corruption is a hindrance to the development of the country.
This is Tanzania chapter. Other countries do have similar chapter, but this is the first initiative in Tanzania. The purpose and the objective of this chapter is working together as the private sector to fight against corruption. So what we are doing, we are encouraging the private sector as a whole. Since the private sector actually is a sector with the money, and this is a source of corruption in most cases. Now, if the private sector knows that and agrees that corruption is bad into business, then we are sure that we're going to supplement or complement the initiative which is being undertaken by PCCB in the country in the fight against corruption.
Commonwealth Ambassador for Business Council, Mr. Reginald Mengi, said the damage corruption causes in doing business is insurmountable, and if not combated, will only continue to increase living costs to the public.
BAAC is an African network initiated by CBC, which is dedicated to building private sector leadership in partnership with governments to tackle corruption. BAAC recognizes that governments that want to deal with corruption are very often faced with serious challenges. Private companies which want to be compliant also find tackling the issue on their own to be very difficult. BAAC encourages cooperation so that both governments and business can work together towards incremental reduction of corruption by joint target and setting and agreeing practical step-by-step measures.
Several leaders from member nations of the United Nations, including President Jakaya Kikwete, have arrived in New York to attend the 66th meeting of the UN General Assembly. Here's the report. The main agenda of today's meeting will be prevention and control of non-communicable diseases. President Kikwete is also expected to take part in the annual general meeting of the Clinton Global Initiative, as well as be in the putting teeth into the non-communicable disease session jointly organized by Tanzania, Australia and Sweden. He is also scheduled to be the guest speaker at a ceremony for heads of state and government to celebrate on achievements registered in fighting malaria during the last decade. On Thursday, President Kikwete is expected to be the second speaker after Cyprus leader at the UN General Assembly. The government plans to meet with stakeholders in the textile industry to discuss challenges that have caused them to produce below capacity. Here's more of the report.
The statement was made by Prime Minister Mizengo Pinda after his tour of Mara Textile in Musoma Municipal. His statement comes after the management of Mutex appealed to the government to review tax on imported clothes so as to protect the domestic market. Mutex has taken measures to install its own ginning machines to ensure availability of the commodity used to produce cloth, and this will also provide farmers in the lake zones with a reliable market instead of depending on the world market only.